Alrighty, so today's video I'm going to explain what exploding head syndrome is, what it is, how you get it, my experiences with it, because I have it. So, I'm gonna cross the street right here. So exploding head syndrome is a strange phenomenon that doctors and scientists have not been able to figure out what it is. Exactly. They know what it is, but they don't know what causes it, per se. But it is an ailment that you're born with. It's not contagious. It's just a strange mental disorder in which you hallucinate, essentially. You hear very, very loud sounds randomly. And some people live with this while they're conscious, some people live with this while they're subconscious. And it tends to have a pattern where it's you can kind of predict it a little bit. Now, it's unpredictable, but you can kind of predict it. It's hard to explain. So, my personal experience, I've been able to roughly predict it. And what I mean is, I understand the pattern, but it's not it's not predictable. It's very unpredictable. But I get the pattern, so I know when it would happen. But essentially what it is these loud sounds that are sometimes accompanied by visual sights. And why it's called exploding head syndrome is because you hear this very loud sound that might be similar to a bomb, and sometimes you see sights that accompany that, like a flash, and basically it tricks you into thinking you're in a war zone. You can look up videos online of people that have exploding head syndrome explaining this phenomenon a little more precisely, but that's basically what it is. Now, these sounds don't have to sound like explosions, but they can sound like high-pitched ringing. You know, if your ears ring, kind of like that. Or it might sound like, for me personally, I have exploding head syndrome, and I only get it when I'm falling asleep. It's right that moment, you know, when you go to bed, and you know how you're drifting off, and that second before you hit unconsciousness, you know, that last thought you have, that's when it hits. And it's always at that very moment is when it hits. It's never hit when I was awake and conscious and fully functional. It's always when I'm falling asleep. And I've had it ever since I was a little kid. I don't remember a time when I didn't have it. But it freaks the hell out of me. And it's not every night. It doesn't happen every night. It happens maybe once a month. Maybe once every couple months. Sometimes it happens in a repetition day after day for about a week straight, every night. The longest record I guess I've had was 3 or 4 days in a row of having this when I fall asleep. Again, I've never had this happen when I was conscious. So it doesn't affect my day-to-day life. It just makes me lose some sleep because I freak the hell out, as anyone would if they just heard some high-pitched ringing thing. It's kind of, the sound is extremely similar to, you know, a TV, like old TVs, when you turn them on and they would have that hissing, like high-pitched, buzzy kind of sound. That's the sound that is in my head when I fall asleep sometimes. And it is so piercingly loud that I literally jump out of my bed when I get this phenomenon. But also, it's accompanied by a flash, a green flash. I'm gonna cross the street. But yeah, it's accompanied by a green flash for me personally. Some people don't see anything when it happens, but others see flashes of light, which tricks your brain 10 times as much into thinking you're in a war zone of some sort. Yeah, so that's what it is. It's probably the oddest thing I've ever experienced in my life because it is so vivid and so realistic, I guess is the best word to describe it. It feels so real when it happens. And that's what makes me freak out, because I'm sleeping and I hear this piercingly loud sound with a flash, you know, that kind of emanates and dissipates like a flash would, you know, and it's freaky. It's really freaky. So that is exploding head syndrome. If you don't have it, you can't get it. You're just born with it. So lucky for all of you guys that don't have that. But I'm a lucky kind of guy because I don't get it when I'm conscious. Oh, that would be terrible. Because trust me, it is the scariest thing. I think it's more scary when you're unconscious because you have no sense of reality when you're sleeping or falling asleep. You don't know what's real and what's fake. So that's the best way of explaining it. I think it's important that we dive into our issues like this because it unlocks some very unique things about our mind and about consciousness and awareness and all those wonderful things. So, see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Spread the message around about exploding head syndrome. It is super rare. I'm amazed I even have this because it is about one of the weirdest, rarest. It's not even really an illness. It just doesn't affect me. It's only an illness if it affects your daily life, which it really doesn't. It just makes me lose about an hour of sleep because I have to, you know, calm down after that. But yeah, that's about it. So spread the news around about some weird things like that because it makes you think just a little bit differently. So yeah, that's my experience with exploding head syndrome. Hope you guys enjoyed. So enjoy nature, go outside, have some fun, explore your consciousness and awareness. Peace.